Welcome back. It's Friday, close out in this day. Um, it was kind of a rough week. Uh, we'll talk about where we ended up numbers wise, and then talk about a few different things I want to show you about, like why cancellations are bad and scheduling out so far and that kind of thing. So first, let's flip you around, and you can see on my Pulse dashboard where we ended. Gross sales of 13,000. Remember, like straight up and down is my break even, and these numbers should be about close. And if you understand your numbers, you can see I'm a little bit higher on gross profit dollars past break even point, and that is because we ended at 70% gross profit margin, which is higher than average. That's probably one of my highest gross profit margins that we've done in a week. um, so that's why that is a little bit higher on there. The gross sales, um, per RO, it has dropped significantly. My target is 950. So this is what happens. You get cancellations. I think we had 4 or 5 of them this week total. And, it's like now we're bringing in whatever we can instead of like optimizing the work that's here and, selective. We're being way less selective. So we're bringing in like jobs that we can and hope to optimize them, but you can see that we're still at 577, which is kind of bad. And then my sold gross profit, it's down, like at 7,800. My break even point is like 83. So we just didn't sell enough, but it is what it is. Let me show you why we did not. One of the reasons why it's kind of a bad week, right? So closed sales should have been well, right? 13,000. That should be past our break even point or really close to it. Um, and the reason why it's not is because some of the work that we did has to be deducted out of here. So this is why when you close out your tickets, you want to keep track of payment. This is all different payment options I have, to keep track of real revenue. Um, I did some loaner cars this week. I worked in the shop on some loaners that needed to be serviced. And then loyalty rewards. This is like, these are payments, but it's not real money. But it doesn't show up in up here in the revenue side because it's the way that the loyalty rewards program that shows up as a payment instead of a discount. So that's one like downfall to Shopware, is that they can't keep track of discounts, and it's really annoying because it's, if you don't want to overpay your sales tax, meaning warranty part failure. I have a spot in here that I pay sales tax on the parts, so I'm the use tax portion of sales tax, and then I would, to keep track of opportunity cost of like what this job should have cost. If it was customer pay, you would pay that out, and then this would get deducted from my weekly or monthly sales tax report, so I can pay my sales tax appropriately instead of overpaying. So we did. I finally closed out like, well, we just did an oil pan gasket on an engine that we did a few weeks ago or a few months ago, maybe like 6 months ago. So he did an oil pan gasket on his car, and there was another warranty job that was in there. So now we take that, 1,500 ish dollars out, and now we're down to less than break it even. So something to keep in mind: my technician's paid on bi-weekly. So if he was able, he did 58 hours last week and 43 today or this week. So his bonus is going to come back, and he'll get a really healthy bonus for, we're switching it to bi-weekly instead of weekly bonuses. So that way the draw, I guess, what, it's kind of like at least half gone, meaning that one week if he bills out 35 and obviously I pay him for 40, is it fair to give him the bonus on the second week in the same pay period? um, if he bills out a bunch of hours the week prior, especially if it's a carryover work, right? Well, it doesn't make a lot of sense. So that's why we went back to bi-weekly. And that was kind of like what he thought that was fair. And he's the one that actually brought that up. So again, I have people that care, right? So this is what I want to show you. So normally we average about 15 repair orders a week. And we went up in repair orders. So that would mean like, oh, wait a minute. If we have more car count in here, why are we not making more money? Well, the average repair orders dropped to 577, right? And when you don't have the right cars coming in, you're scheduling the right cars, you're taking what you can get. It's better to have something than it is to have all of the good. Um, Otherwise, you're not paying bills. So what am I going to do? Like that? Sorry, can't come in. I don't want to work on that. No, you're going to end up making exceptions to be able to bring stuff in. I mean, we are here to fix broken cars, right? So that is another reason why it's like proof right there of why scheduling out so far creates a lot of problems. Now, some shops out there, they're not doing they don't even run schedules. They're just like, yeah, bring it in. It's like first come, first serve, and then they just work on the cars in there. And there's something to say to that. And maybe that's, I think sometimes it's a good idea. I don't know if it's my idea, right, of what we want to do, but I don't know, man. It's just a rough week. Next week is going to be hard too. It's going to be a hard catch up for April for sure. Continental, if you're not following the channel, I'm a Continental tire dealer. They reached out and said, "Hey, we got training. Do you want to come to this? It's free. We'll pay for your dinner, pay for your hotel. We're going to give you training, and then we're going to go drive like BMWs on a racetrack." I was like, "Yeah, I'll do that. We don't have to twist my arm too hard." So we're going to do that. So I'm going to be gone Monday and Tuesday for tire training and driving cars. My tech is off on Tuesday for taking care of his family, and so we're going to have 3 working days. So we're trying to cram in as much as we can. Just give me 1 second. Turn this tire balancer off. That's one downfall to this Hoffman balancer, is that the screen got burned in pretty quick. So you got to remember to turn that thing off. So, it's kind of a rough one. Like, not every week's going to win. It's like I said before, I think it was episode 29, we finally had like real profit and had basically a record week for only having one technician. It's like, man, I want all of those weeks, right? But you got to put that money in the bank and cherish it. Don't be spending that kind of money because you have it that week. Like, yeah, I mean, it was nice. I was able to go out and get some things like more tooling and but that kind of stuff. But really, our next big purchase that we're going to be looking at is a coolant service machine. And the BG guy wants $2,000 for a used CT2, which is the kind of machine I want. I want a pressurized machine to be able to push through the thermostat. I do not like the vacuum style machines because maybe I don't fully understand the machine, but you're not going to get as much coolant out with that. And I want all of the coolant out of the system. And the only way I can see that happening is if we're pushing the coolant through the thermostat. So that's going to be a $2,000 purchase is something. And I do want to replace that 200 amp MIG welder back there, so you can see it, with another Miller-Matic. That's another $2,000. And then something else that I want to mention. Okay, so alignments. Obviously, I just got my alignment machine up and going in February, and we're doing alignments. I had a car come in, a Porsche Macan, that came in for an alignment and 2 tires. So we sold the alignment, and then I realized, wait a second, yeah, I can get the mechanicals of the alignment set. Not an issue to like adjust camber, toe, and even the caster, shifting subframes and all that stuff. Like I'm not going to be doing like shifting subframes and whatnot for $155, right? But luckily the alignment was good and she only got charged for an alignment check. Here's what I determined I'm going to do. I am not doing alignments on cars with ADAS, and it 100% has to do with liability. I am worried about doing an alignment without adjusting cameras and radar for liability reasons. If that car gets into an accident and someone gets hurt, the insurance company can come right back and say that we're at fault. That amount of money making on an alignment without being able to fully offer like a true alignment with that calibration, I think it's a problem. And it sucks because I want to be that shop that does like the best quality work. And I don't even have the space to be able to offer that right now. And that kind of hurts because there's more and more new cars that are getting serviced. And if I can't do it, there's other shops out there that will absolutely do the alignment because they'll just take their chances on a lawsuit if something happens. And I'm not doing that. It's just not worth it to me for $100 worth of profit on an alignment. It ain't worth it. So we need to get the building purchased, the property purchased, and I need to get this alignment rack set up in the back building. That bay should be deep enough. It's 30, I think the bay is 30 by 22. We'll do a sub-mount rack so it's flush, and then the apron in front of the building, hopefully, we can re-pour that and have it deeper if I need it. But I think it'll be deep enough to do what we need to do. So until that's another, I think, $50,000 upgrade to the Hunter Hawkeye Elite, plus targets, which can be thousands of dollars per. So, that's what we're going to have to do. So those are like the next big purchases. Well, obviously buying the property. I don't know how much that is. Probably $750,000. I don't even know. Which is a pretty good deal for 6 acres of land, 3 lots on road frontage. Not too bad. But yeah. So car count matters. When you go off script and bring in whatever you can find, yeah, at that point in time, it's kind of like, in my opinion, it's fight or flight. You're going to do what you can to be able to pay bills, but once you get out of your zone, things get screwed up. The tech's pushing for the bonus, which I appreciate, but I really think that as time goes on, I'm more worried about it being relied upon for the money that needs to be made. And it is supposed to incentivize, but just not feeling it, man. It just doesn't feel right. And I'm probably going to end up going to a higher wage with my MLAP, minimum level of acceptable performance. Like, we're shooting for 50 hours. And if we're not meeting the 50 hours, we got to figure out why. And it could absolutely be the technician's fault. But like I said, usually it's the front end of the house. So I really need to get a second tech in here so I can concentrate and help my service advisor and hire another advisor and get them trained. But I didn't hear anything back. I text the other candidate that declined the job. He didn't even read it yet. So I'm pretty sure he has no desire to work here. So it's like, he seemed very trustworthy. I don't think he was trying to use us to get a raise. But I mean, obviously it worked regardless of the intention or not. I even told him, dude, at $17 more an hour, I would probably consider being talked to like a child. But maybe eventually that'll kind of wear out. And, I told him to reach out again. It's an offer still. I had another interview today. I'm not feeling it, man. I gave him a working interview for one day. I said we might go into 2, but when I asked him some diag questions and his experience level, he's been working with his uncle where he grew up, and he's a parts changer, right? And I asked him a lean condition fault, and he's like, I'm going to check spark plugs, and then I'm going to see if a coil's not working right, and then I might end up putting 8 spark plugs in it and coils maybe, because if it's one of them's bad. I was like, holy cow, man. There's just nothing there, right? Number one, that would probably give you a rich condition. So, we didn't even talk about mass airflow, oxygen sensors, none of that. He's like, immediately he's going to put spark plugs in it. It's like, gee whiz, man. And then voltage drop question. I just asked him if I ask you to perform a voltage drop on a starting system, what are you going to do? And he started going into parasitic draws and having valves open, and I'm like, oh man, but if he's a parts changer, he can still make good money as a parts changer, and we can still train him for the ability if he's trainable. I don't know if he's trainable. I just don't know what to do. And the other thing too, like what I don't know also is how do I play to these guys' strengths? And that's a problem for me. I don't know what to do when I can't give you 80% of the cars, or 20%, 30% of the cars that come in. I can't give it to you because I know you can't do it. I don't know how to best utilize and get them trained up properly if like they don't have any fundamentals at all, except for all I know how to do is take parts off and put them on. And that's a downfall for me, man. I don't know how to fix that. I don't know. Um, so it's frustrating. I just know that I need a technician in here so I can concentrate on running the business and getting training done, the advisor and stuff, and then get more revenue so I can get the advisor and coaching. It's a struggle, man. But the good news is I guess we about broke even, which is better than not, right? So anyway, this is what we're doing this weekend. I'm going to we charged this AC up, and I did. This is the truck that I'm selling, a 95 short bed step side. If you want a clean truck, excuse me, 112,000 miles. Charged the AC up on this thing, and it was working fine. Couldn't find any leaks. I thought maybe there was a leak in there because the vacuum didn't seem like it held 100%. I was kind of suspecting the machine, but I shouldn't have. The compressor seal is leaking. Right here at the pancake, you can see the residue. And the sniffer picked up a leak on the condenser. So I got a condenser coming tomorrow, compressor coming in. It's already here, so I'm doing the compressor. And then I decided to go ahead and BMW's out, Jetta's in. We are going to yank the engine out of this pig, prep this one to go in it. And that engine block came in with a blown head gasket. That's what I was told. And unfortunately, that's a naturally aspirated bottom end, which is not the same as a turbo diesel. It's lacking oil squirters, and it has flat top pistons instead of dished. So it's going to be a hot turbo diesel motor. So we'll see. But yeah, just kind of maybe clear out some of my junk. And I'd like to try to get one of these old cars on the road so I can have a daily. Right now I don't have anything to drive except for my truck and then loaner cars. But yeah, so there's going to be a fun time in the shop, I guess. Working on my own stuff. But okay, probably not too much of an update this weekend. Unless maybe I'll throw out some fun stuff with the Jetta. I don't know. Something like that. Be kind of cool. But otherwise, I will talk to you guys a little bit later. Maybe we'll come up with like a story time for Sunday. That's just like one of the things I want to do on the channel was instead of like going an update on the daily, maybe we'll talk about like one of these things. So if you guys are watching this video and you want to go through like a scenario or something on how I would handle it, or we can talk through something else, just let me know. Maybe you can try to do a live thing. I've never done that before. That all would be fun. All these trolls would end up coming out, I'm sure. But we'll figure it out. Let me know what you guys think. All right, later.